cinematography, does it require, you think, a certain course or just having a passion?
I think the main question when people ask me this is basically how do I get a job? And I keep telling everyone like one of the best ways to understand cinematography and filmmaking in general is to watch a lot of films. There are always setbacks. I face setbacks every year. काम की कमी बहुत होती है. काम की कमी हमें हर महीने होती है. काम की कमी सब लोगों को होती है. The main job for me on set when we are shooting is to make the actors comfortable enough and give them that space that they can do their job well. Because if the actors are not comfortable and they are not performing to the 100% of what the script, or if they are having any trouble in that, then that's where we are failing. I don't want to have a style because every script you get it needs a different approach, I would say, rather than, and if I have a style, there is a big chance that I'm trying to mold the story into my style. It's all about how do you connect with another person. And you connect with another person by having an open line of communication. You're honest. It's like अगर मैं किसी के पास जाऊँगा मैं बोलूँगा भाई मैंने ये सब काम किया है बहुत काम किया है. It doesn't really work that well because it becomes a very work relationship.
But I've seen your name in about 2 projects. So like with that I would know that I have seen. I think I saw it on Netflix in Sacred Games.
So Sacred Games, I was a part of the directors, like the assistants team.
Have you ever had a creative difference with any director on set? Give me an anecdote. Hi and welcome back everyone to Dear Unconventionals. Today's guest on our show is someone whose work you've admired on the big screen. He is the eye behind breathtaking visuals, a master of light and shadows. He works quietly behind the scenes, a cinematographer par excellence, Ajatshatru Singh. Ajat, hi.
Hi, thank you.
And welcome to the show. So, first and foremost, I have to ask you, just to get the air clear here, that so very many people don't know the term cinematography, okay? They confuse it a lot with videography. I just want to know what is the difference in your head in being a cinematographer and a videographer?
Okay, that's a tough question. So I would say like with cinematography, the base difference is that I work in a team, and so even in like as a cinematographer, we have 2 different departments which we have to work with. One is the lighting department, and one is the camera team. Now, both the teams have their like HODs. Like the lighting department has a gaffer, the camera team has a first AC who oversees both the departments, and I oversee, or the cinematographer will oversee both the departments. And both the teams have like different roles. The lighting team obviously has a job which has to do with the lighting of the entire shoot. The camera team takes care of the camera and the lenses and all the things like which comes in it. Also, as a cinematographer, like I'm lucky enough to shoot films, short films, documentaries.
Yeah.
When it comes to films. So our work starts from even like as a cinematographer, like your work starts from even before the project has started.
Right.
So say there's going to be a script, a director has written that script. So I get to read that script. We read the entire thing. I read the entire thing, then we go back to the director, we discuss, I understand his vision. Then there is a process which we have to go through until the main shoot starts.
Okay.
Say, for example, we have to go and see the different locations where the thing has to be shot. We have to decide what time of the day or night this scene has to be shot.
जिसको pre-shoot recce भी बोलते हैं ना, that you got
Pre-shoot recce's, yeah. So we go for the recce's, we identify the locations, we finalize the locations. Then if the budget allows, I guess, we do some tests. Like we try different cameras, we try different lenses. All of them have different looks.
Right.
Then the cinematographer also works in very closely to the DI person, who is a color grader. So if the budget allows and if you have time, some like in really like high-end shoots, they already they shoot some sample footage from before. Like the cinematographer might shoot that, and then he goes to a colorist and they form a look.
Sure.
Like how it should look, and then they go and they shoot the entire thing.
Okay.
So I would say these are some of the elements which basically might differentiate between a cinematographer and a videographer.
Lovely. You don't come from a very conventional, you come from a very conventional background actually, because your parents, your dad is in the services, was in the services, I think now retired. uh, I want to know how, with that kind of a background and with that kind of an upbringing, how did you kind of choose to become a cinematographer? How did you, what was that eureka moment where you thought this is your calling?
That's a loaded question. uh, Honestly, growing up, it was thanks to my parents. Like, thanks to my mom and dad, because dad, when I was a kid, like, dad used to take a lot of photos. He used to love, like, he used to have a bunch of cameras. He would always be shooting on his cameras on our family holidays and all. So that's where my interest into shooting with the camera, I guess, like, started.
Okay.
But even at that point, I had no idea about cinematography. But I was encouraged by my parents, and they also gave me a camera, and then I just like started like shooting on my own time. And that was really good for me because I guess my interest kept on increasing. And over the years, even after I graduated from school, and until I didn't go to, and even when I went to college, I didn't know what cinematography was.
Okay.
It was only when after my college was done and I came back to Bombay at that point, because my dad was transferred there, like he was posted there. And only when dad was there, he recommended that why don't I go and meet some directors and some people who are working in the industry. And through that, I joined the industry.
Okay.
But even at that time, I was working as an AD, which is an assistant director. And while I was working, I met a lot of talented DOPs who are like working in Bombay. A few. And in the first project, which was Mukkabaaz, it was being directed by Anurag Kashyap. His cinematographer is a really senior cinematographer called Rajiv Ravi sir.
Okay.
He's a fantastic DOP. He's shot some amazing films over the years, and I met him. But I was in the direction team, and I started talking to him. And he actually encouraged me, and he said that your interest lies more into cinematography, so why don't you try that out? And I was like, what is cinematography?
Okay.
So this is like me on the first day of set, and I'm just having this conversation with him. So he got me into it, and
Okay.
I started understanding and learning the ropes.
Also,
Like
it was not
on,
pre-decided.
it wasn't pre-decided. It was like I just followed a route, and I just really liked, and I would always have my camera in hand. So even on set, I would just be taking a lot of BTS shoots. I would be doing a lot of BTS stuff. I would be doing a lot of making stuff for the shoot. And after meeting him, I jumped my departments on that shoot. I asked him if it's cool if I can be your intern, and he's like, sure. So I left the direction team and I joined his team
On the same film.
on the same film.
So don't go so far. Tell me, like, let's rewind a bit. So you're saying that after college, you went to Bombay where your dad was posted. Okay. So then, and that time your interest was into just camera and figuring it out that what do you want to do, or
I wanted
photography it was, or was it direction?
I guess I really wanted to find a way to monetize my photography. That was
Okay.
my main aim.
Okay.
Because, and I was thinking of becoming a documentary photographer at that point, because I really like telling stories. Like I loved exploring, going to different cities and seeing. So I was trying to figure out a way on how I can monetize this field. And I was very confused. Like I didn't know how to do it. So that's why I was very grateful to Dad at that point, because he told me, why don't you try to work in the industry in any form, and maybe I'll be able to figure it out from there.
Now you enjoy it.
I love it.
So, cinematography, does it require, you think, a certain course, or just having a passion is enough?
Both ways, it actually depends on you. Both ways are fine. That like it was really like at that time I would get a lot of. I met some people. I met amazing cinematographers over the years, and some cinematographers were insistent that you should go to a film school. Some were not. And even if I've seen a lot of, even when I've seen a lot of cinematographers work and I've found out about their life, some have gone the film school way. Some have just made their own way. So you can choose either way you want. It actually depends on you. Because also what people, like I think the main question when people ask me this is basically, how do I get a job?
Yeah.
That is what they're actually asking.
Yeah, it's not just the course or the thing, but yeah.
It doesn't matter of the course. It doesn't matter. And also film school, like India has two great film. Like I think India has a lot of film schools now, but the two main ones are FTI and SRFTI.
Yeah.
FTI is in
Okay.
Pune. SRFTI I think is in Calcutta. I might be mistaken, but I think in Calcutta or around Calcutta. So those are the two government-funded schools, which are really great institutions. Raji Ravi sir, all the DOPs I've met, Sylvester Fonseca or Shankar Raman, they all are like FTI alumni. You can either do that, you can go out and study film as well. But you can go either way, because what really matters is that once you've done your course or you've understood cinematography, work experience is really important.
Sure.
So you have to come and work in the industry, because that's how you'll meet people. You'll make friends and bonds and relations through which
Networking is important.
you will work with them. So that's my
You
2
have your
cents
genes
on
to
it.
thank. That okay? Did you have to do a course, or you have your genes to thank?
I I think I was really interested in this field. I was really interested in because I would just keep looking at photographs. Then after I came to Bombay, I started getting into films too. I wasn't that big of like a film buff before, but I started watching films more. And what I really enjoy about films is that it is such a interesting, creative way of telling a story of what you're trying to say. And I love working with people. I love observing people. So many times I've gotten into trouble because I'm trying to like shoot people and people are calling me a creep and all that stuff. But so all those aspects really interested me. And even as a photographer, when I was in college, and in my college I studied graphic design. But for my final course, I made a book on I made a photo book.
Oh, okay.
I was traveling in Istanbul at that time, and I just shot the city, and I ended up making a photo book of it. So I had a documentary way of like approaching things. And even as my first project after I started working in the industry in Bombay, my first project was a documentary,
Okay.
which we shot about COVID. So I was like, okay, I'm really enjoying this. And the camera technicals, like honestly, if you give some time to it, even in a day, like if you take out like an hour, and now thankfully, like we live in a time where resources like YouTube and all of these are there, and there are so many books. So if you just look into it a little bit, you will find all the technical information you want. And I keep telling everyone, like one of the best ways to understand cinematography and filmmaking in general is to watch a lot of films, good films.
Yeah.
Watch a lot of good films. Watch films wherever you're from. I come from India. Like you come from India. We have amazing directors here back in the day. If you watch films by Satyajit Ray, they're amazing as like a film school thing.
Do you take out time to kind of study also
Every day.
whatever is coming out, and because even I think everything keeps evolving, right? So maybe you have to keep yourself abreast with whatever new is coming
Yeah.
up, right? Have you had any setbacks so far, and like how have you still in those adversities been resilient? I think.
I mean, they are there are always setbacks. There are always setbacks. I face setbacks every year, and there are times like when it gets really, really difficult. There have been so many moments. Like every year, like there always comes a month or a moment where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It's tough, but it passes. Also, what really helps me is that I've been lucky enough to, since I've been there, I've been lucky enough that I have a small group of people who I can trust and support, and who I can count on for their support. One of them is my mentor. His name is Shankar Raman. He's a fantastic cinematographer and a director and a writer. And most importantly, like he's a fantastic human being.
काम की कमी कभी नहीं हुई है रात?
काम की कमी बहुत होती है. काम की कमी हमें हर महीने होती है. काम की कमी सब लोगों को होती है. No matter how I would say experienced, or it doesn't matter how long you've been in the industry, काम की कमी हर टाइम आती है. But you face it. You face it in your own way. I have sometimes my friends support me. Sometimes my friend ask they help me out with some of the contacts. Sometimes my parents support me. The important thing is to always talk about these things with your friends or your support
Right.
group or your
Should keep
family.
them involved.
Keep them involved. and just don't take it very seriously and personally. काम की कमी है तो काम की कमी है.
फिर आ जाएगा.
फिर आ जाएगा. Sort करो. That's just life.
Keep at it.
I would just keep at it. Because if you want to do it, like, you'll do it.
Yes. So, cinematography is quite technical. Like, there's lighting, there's framing, there's camera angles, there's everything. But like you also said, and you enjoy it, there is an element of storytelling, right? How do you, when you're on set, balance the technical with the emotional?
That's a great question. There
Like
always
that
has
urge
to
to
be.
storytell and technically theek hai, everything has to be done logically. But what about the heart?
I think mostly it's to do with the heart only. Mostly all the technical choices are being influenced by heart, I would say. And the script is the most important. It starts and ends with the script. So, like, it's really important. Like, for me, I don't know about others, but for my process, it's really important that I have a very clear communication line with my director and all my other HODs. And what I really like one of the most important things for me when I'm in a project is the phase before you start shooting, which is the pre-production phase. You have to, because our field is so unpredictable at times, you should plan to your best from before. Plan everything out. Plan all the small details out. Plan, like, say, like, a really good way to plan would be like, if you have a scene, from a technical point of view, you should know the time of the day you're shooting, or you should be very well set with your lighting. You should know what lenses you want to shoot that scene at what. So the better you are there, and like, one of the best things about my job is that I get to collaborate with so many of my HODs. Like, there is a production designer who is, and like, I to always say, like, a production designer and a DOP should be best friends.
Okay.
Because both our work is related, because he or she is going to create what you shoot. So they are going to make the entire set for you, and you shoot that. So the color palettes, what kind of fabric or something you're using, you can talk about, I'm going to install this kind of a light here. What are you what are you showing? What are the colors of it? So that all works in tandem. So
And sometimes it changes. Like he might say, I'm putting up this set, or I'm
100%.
putting up this, and you're supposed to kind of
Yeah.
put the light accordingly,
Yeah.
or something. But
Yeah.
where does, see, these are people we are also kind of collaborating with. But when you're a cinematographer on set, what is that storytelling element that you have? As in, one is कि उनका vision आप दिखाते हो, है ना? और एक है कि you also have something in mind, which is your storytelling. You know, the way you are sort of maybe picturizing a scene, that this is how it's supposed to look. What happens there? Like, this is technical somewhere. Then how do you balance that, is what I'm trying to ask. That's an emotional angle that, okay, maybe will it look better this side?
You figure that out on the go.
Okay.
Most of the times, because that's why I keep saying the pre-planning part is so important. Everyone makes their decks. A production designer will make its deck. I'm looking at these colors, like, this is the color palette. And then when we go on a recce's, we see the locations. We decide our angles from before. Like, we'll shoot it from here, we'll shoot it from here. And we prepare alongside those lines. And most of the time, when we're working on a project, our visions match eventually. Because it's not about
Right.
our visions, like, it's about the director's vision. And
Right.
even if we don't come together on certain parts, we find a compromise. And also, there are other elements which are not in our control. Sometimes you have less time to finish, like, your scenes in a day. Sometimes the light is going. Sometimes you're late. Sometimes you wanted to shoot a golden hour scene, but you don't have that time anymore. So you have to keep it. So
Going
you have
on
to
the run.
decide at that point what is the best for you. So the best thing, how we find that, to answer your question, how we find, like, how we
That
satisfy
balance,
the
yeah.
both, like, the balance is to have a open line of communication and
Right.
understand the things we are facing, the problems we are facing, differentiate the things, like, which are not in our control and which are, and work, like, according to that.
Yeah. Have you, as an like individual on set, ever failed to capture what you were trying?
So many times. Like so many times.
Okay, that's happened.
It has happened so many times. But you have to, like, move far. Like, earlier in my time, I would be very upset about it.
Yeah.
But slowly and slowly, I've started, like, as I worked more and more, I've realized it doesn't matter as long, because at the end of the day, I will, like, the precedence is always to do with the actors and their performances. Everything else is secondary.
Okay, right.
I speak to my parents, and sometimes my parents are always like, the cinematography was really good of this film. And I'm like, so you didn't really enjoy the movie, did you? And they're like, yeah. So, as long as the story is flowing really well, your actors are comfortable enough. Like, I think the main job for me on set when we are shooting is to make the actors comfortable enough and give them that space that they can do their job well. Because if the actors are not comfortable and they are not performing to the 100% of what the script, or if they are having any trouble in that, then that's where we are failing. So that's why it's not so much about our lighting and our cameras and all that.
That's where you are failing, or that's where they are failing?
I'm failing because I'm unable to give them that environment. I'm unable to give them that kind of because acting is really, really difficult, which might be tough for some people to understand. Like, I really find it very intimidating as a craft. You have to be very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because there's a very famous line a lot of my actor friends tell me, the best kind of acting is when you're not acting.
Uh-huh.
So to achieve that stage, and you're on set, where on set there are like hundreds of people around you. So imagine you are on set, and I faced this once in my life with Anurag, where I was assisting him, and he asked me to fill in for a very small role where there was only one line I had to say in the entire thing, and I was very excited about it. and I had to go through a very intense prosthetic process where they had to put a bald cap on my head and they had to make me bald.
Oh, you had to fill in for somebody?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did all of that, and when I went to, and when I was in the scene, and it was my first time being on the other side of the camera, and I was so intimidated that I couldn't say my line.
Just one line?
Just one line. Like, they had to do like 10, 15, like, no, like 5, 6 takes. And Shankar was shooting it, I think.
Acha, yeah.
But, and all of a sudden, like, I saw so many faces looking at you, all that stuff. So I was very intimidated. And I think it was at that point where I understood, okay, it is really, really difficult. And this is what it is. Like, you can shoot a badly lit scene.
Yeah.
But if the actor's performances, I mean, a badly lit scene is also a very subjective thing to say. Say, like, if I don't like the lighting of my scene, but the actor's performances were amazing, I wouldn't care about my lighting. I might just do it. Just move forward.
This is okay.
Yeah. If you have less time and all that, if you have time again to do it, sure.
Yeah.
But if you've got that, you've got it.
If also like the director is happy, then it's great.
Yeah.
Did that moment also change the way you worked when you went back behind the scenes?
100%. I became more understanding of everyone's needs around me. Earlier, when I was just starting out, I was like, yeah, man, camera and all that, we are like very important. Then all of a sudden, I started understanding that apart from the director and the actor, everyone has a supporting role.
Yeah.
We are like there to support. We are there to do our best to be invisible. That's why even before a commercial project or a film, there is this thing called pre-lighting. It's where we go one day or two to the set before, and we light from before, and we do all of our tests, and we see how every frame looks, so that the next day when the actors come, we are not wasting time doing all of this.
Lighting and stuff.
And they can just quickly come, we can just do our small checks, and we can just start. Because they also need to be calm.
Like Bollywood, because a lot of people are huge fans, like everybody. So like Bollywood is all about a lot of color and dramatic storytelling, etc. In your style of cinematography, how do you ensure that your style kind of enhances it and does not overpower it?
I always used to think that I have a style. But
Do you think now you don't?
I don't want to have a style. Because every script you get it needs a different approach, I would say. So and if I have a style, there is a big chance that I'm trying to mold the story into my style. Unless I choose those kind of scripts which allows me to shoot in this style I have. But, and after I did, how do I put this? I don't like having a style because I love to experiment and I love to shoot in different ways.
So you have a style, it's more fluid that
I
you
guess
can
so.
that you can just adapt any way you
I guess
want.
so. I guess
Right?
so. And also the more and more I've worked, and also thanks to my thanks to Shankar, who I've observed while working, and all the important lessons he's given me. Like, I always used to think that lighting, I would always be intimidated more by lighting, but as the time has passed, it's more about my relationship with my camera, like how
Okay.
I move with my camera, because my camera is an extension of me,
Yeah.
and how you move the camera, and there are different ways, like a camera can be on a tripod, the camera can be on your hand or whatever. So it's just that, and you just approach every script as what the script demands.
Okay, cool, got it. Speaking of award functions, okay, so actors, directors, everybody, like they're most like celebrated and stuff. People like yourself, they fall into the technical artist category and they either start earlier or whatever. Do you think that cinematographers should be given more due in what they do, or are they given due credit for
I
what they
think
do?
cinematographers, especially in this time and age, they are given a lot of due and credit. Even back in the day, like cinematographers were
You could
given.
be the only one saying that also, huh, by the way.
I'm surprised people don't see that, because I mean, back in the day, and cinematographers are given a lot of due and credit. I don't think, I mean, all the cinematographers who I know, they don't really care about that. They don't really care about the due and credit either. They are most happy while they're shooting. They're most happy just trying to work on different projects. And I mean, for me, the way I see it is, if I'm getting to work on great projects, if I'm lucky enough to work on great projects and I'm getting paid for that, that's my due and credit. There's nothing. Like, I would say I would love to have a legacy where I've shot like a lot of great things, a great work where my work is spoken about in the future for the future generations to come. Like, I see so many DOPs work today who have shot back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And I get inspired by that work. And even so much of my shot taking or whatever is inspired by that. So that's what I'm aiming for. That's what I want.
Ajat, describe me that one night, that moment or a feeling where everything must have felt very uncertain, but you still thought that this is still your calling.
Because I'm very passionate about what I do. So there was not, so there was, there have been many nights where I've had to reassure myself and convince myself and give me those 3 a.m. pep talks. It's an up and down graph. What really helps you, if you do it, if you start approaching it in a way where it's not too stressful for you, that your recovery time becomes faster.
Sure.
Even tomorrow, I'm gonna wake up and be like, where's my life going? Or what am I doing? But now my recovery time is faster. I come back to my base, I'm like, it's just a thought.
What do you say to yourself? What is that one piece of advice, if not advice, but what that one piece of statement that has always stayed with you? किसी ने भी दिया होगा. It could be your parents, it could be your mentor, it could be you yourself also. Anybody. But have you had, what do you say to yourself, that one liner, and you bounce back?
I observe myself. It's like it's almost like if I'm having a breakdown, somehow I just observe myself having a breakdown and I laugh.
That gets you going.
I'm just like, what a trip. Then you just look around and you're like, oh my God, what a trip. Then you just see I mean, I guess laughter for me really works. It just works.
Do you travel for yourself ever?
A lot.
Just okay. On a much lighter note, I have to know, which is that one shot or that one scene that even today you're most proud of that you have taken that reinstates your love in the job?
Ooh, there are a few. Like,
Anything that our audience will relate to, they must have seen in any project. I've still not asked you what are the other projects you have worked on. So, is there one from any other movie apart from Mukkabaaz or that you can describe?
so all the projects like I've done, like there are, but all the projects I've done are very indie projects which have been to film festivals and stuff.
Okay.
So either like so there was a documentary which I
So you
shot.
can pick two. That's fine.
I mean, there was a documentary I shot back in the day in 2019 on COVID, and that was, we basically got to shoot Bombay when it was completely empty. So there are like a lot of shots in that which I'm really proud of. But the sad thing is, because of the nature of the documentary, it's not like it hasn't been released yet by the director to the
Okay.
audience. So sadly, that project is not visible. And there is like every project I've done has something I'm proud of. So basically, this year there is a short film coming out which I can't talk about, but it's going to be released very soon in the next couple of months.
Okay.
And
It's ready.
It's ready. I'm very excited about it. So when it comes out, I'll send you a link
Sure, we'll get to see it.
and you get to see it. And there are like a lot of things. So there is this one shot which we achieved with like very bare basic a minimum gear and with very less time. And it is basically, it is like there is this movie called The Shining. And in The Shining, there is a scene where the main protagonist is hitting the door with an axe, and the camera moves with the axe. It's a really intense scene. So we had something similar in this, but we didn't have any gear. We just had a tripod and a camera. We had a Sony DSLR because it was part of a patchwork.
Okay.
The movie had been shot, and we just had to shoot these scenes. And so how we achieved that was very, very unique and very, very interesting. And we only could do that because of the director and the actor, because the actor was like, because he understood. And I was like, we have to do the scene a lot of times. And we did about 14 or 15 takes for that one. And that shot is only for 2 seconds in the film.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we did it for like 15 times. And on the 15th time, we got it. And you're like,
So are you the main cinematographer for that film?
yeah.
So you now started getting work as an independent cinematographer as well?
Slowly
or
and
is it
slowly.
still- Oh, that's lovely.
Slowly and
So
slowly.
this one is your project, we can say that.
Yeah.
So there are, I think, two places where I have actually seen, I think, your work, but you can tell me what
I've been
part
part
is
of
yours.
those. So every time I've been a part of a project where I've assisted, it's the cinematographer's work. It's not my work. I've been a part of the team.
But I've seen your name in about two projects. So like with that, I would know that I have seen. I could be wrong, so you can correct me. Did I I think I saw it on Netflix on Sacred Games.
So I
In
was
the end?
So Sacred Games, I was a part of the directors, like the assistants team.
Okay.
That was one of the projects where I had and so on Sacred, I was the director's assistant. And before that, we were doing Manmarziyaan.
Yeah, I was about to say that. And I saw it.
So on
in the last
Manmarziyaan,
credits.
So on Manmarziyaan, I was Sylvester Fonseca's assistant.
Okay. So as an assistant, your role is like sort of limited, or what is it?
Yeah, like you have very specific roles, which you have to concentrate on only that. So my job was continuity on Manmarziyaan.
Okay.
So I had to I had to basically write down all the information which was required by the cinematographer of every shot. So you have to write down the camera, the lens, all technical knowledge. You have to make a quick light diagram to understand where you had shot. And we do that because in the future, say they have to come back here and shoot it again. So they just have all the information in front of them, which like the technical information, so they can just be very fast with it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Tell me, have you ever had a creative difference with any director on set? Give me an anecdote.
Yeah. I would say I have, but they haven't been like really bad. Like it hasn't been intense. We do have creative differences and we talk about it, and sometimes I'll explain ki maybe that we may do a shot like this differently, or we could light it differently, or we could wait for a bit of time. But if the director doesn't want it and he believes in his vision, I believe in him, and I will do what he wants.
So then you let go.
I let go, because at the end of the day, like I have to always remind myself that I'm there to support.
Yeah.
You cannot. It is not your script.
He's the captain of the ship. You have to.
Yeah, he's put in the work. He's written the script, his vision, and if he's very clear on the vision, it's my job to like do the best I can do for him.
Yeah. How does your style of cinematography, which you always say that you don't have a style, actually differ from others like cinematographers? I'm not talking being fluid, but is there still something when you see in your mentor is different from you, because you have a lot of similarities from him, you've said, but दोनों के शॉट लेने में कोई फर्क आता है?
बहुत आते हैं. आपके camera angles are different. The way you like. So for me, the way we where we place our cameras is also like how we're perceiving emotions.
Okay.
If someone is angry in a scene and I'm shooting that person, I might put my camera in a place where my mentor might put the camera in a different place. So that way, every cinematographer's eye is different. We do follow a set of guide rules, which tells us कि camera कहाँ कहाँ होना चाहिए, which is the standard. But where every cinematographer differs is where sometimes they might break that rule because they're not rules; they are like guidelines. So you might try something different, and that's where every cinematographer differs. So it's a very subtle art, and if you don't study that, you won't get it because every cinematographer is trying to be invisible.
Right. Cinematography is ever evolving, like any other field, right? Like now there are AI visuals, there is production, there's a lot of things. How do you see the future of cinematography in Bollywood today?
I think we have a great future. We do. Like, we have so many talented people who are also like upcoming talent people coming up. We are like our like Bombay or India for that matter, even South India, the industry in Bengal, actually all over India now. Like, I know so many filmmakers who are very talented and they're also not scared to incorporate the new technology into their field. If you want AI, like the example of AI, like AI is a great tool. It's an amazing tool, and it's really going to help cinematography for that matter in different aspects. You can enhance your work through it if you do it right. So, I mean, like, we have a good future. We do have a good future. I hope. Sure, sometimes we do live. We are living in a time, I would say, where maybe what the freedom of what we want to say might be curtailed a little bit, I guess. So, but that's the country we are,
Yeah.
and we just have to work around that. That's all.
Sure. And looking back at your journey for the past 6-7 years, do you think you've achieved what you set out to achieve, and what is the longer vision for you?
I don't. I think I have achieved what I set out to achieve for the where I am right now. But I feel I have a long way to go. And the only thing I can hope for is that even if I'm 90, I hope I'm shooting
Yes.
because that's what I enjoy doing the most. And I hope, I mean, the only ambition I have is that I hope I'm a prolific cinematographer. I hope I have a massive body of work, and I hope I shoot till the day I die.
Do you recommend this profession to most people, or would you say it's not for the feeble-hearted?
Being feeble-hearted is also like a temporary thing for people. So I recommend this profession to everyone, and even if you're feeble-hearted, you should, and if you want to get into a a profession like cinematography, just get into it. You might be feeble-hearted today, and you won't be tomorrow. But you will be feeble-hearted if you don't take the chances and you keep thinking in your head. So, as the saying goes, that you only miss those shots which you don't take.
Lovely. Yes.
So,
With
recommend to
that, I will pull you into a very interesting segment that we have, which comes towards the end. It's the top three rapid round. It's a fun segment we have where
Oh
I'll
God.
ask you three questions and you have to give me 3 pointers for each. Okay?
I'm very
But you
nervous.
can't take too much time.
I'll
Okay?
do my best, but I'll be very bad at
Yeah.
this.
So, my first question to you is three toughest shots you've ever pulled off.
Okay, one is the
One you told.
like I told you, one was where I had to wait for an hour for the sun to come up. So we
Oh,
had to just wait, and it was a very short window. I think a 5-second window because that's the only part we wanted. So I was very nervous. The last shot which I've ever taken, actually, it's not a shot. It's a very funny story.
please.
I was in Kashmir with Shankar, and Shankar was the main cinematographer of that, and we were trying to find a good location to shoot, and we found a field, and this was in the winter time. and he wanted to shoot, and he wanted to put the camera right in the middle of the field, and it was snowing, and the snow was like knee deep. So he asked me to go and walk, and I started walking. But then I look back at him, and I'm like, "How long do you want me to keep walking?" And he's like, "Until you don't fall inside." And I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "So I can be sure if it's safe to come."
Okay. So you were what were you doing? You were shot blocking.
I was a pig. I was a
you're the guinea pig.
I was a guinea pig for Shankar. He's like, "Just go, walk. If you die, cool." That's where I put my camera before.
Okay. And 3 words to describe your cinematography style.
See, these are like really tough questions. I don't know.
They're very easy.
I sound so pretentious saying these things also, yeah.
It's not true.
No, I think it's true, but I just sound as...
You can say emotional, you can say fluid.
Emotional, colorful. I like colors a lot. And, I'll go with fluid.
Okay.
I'll go with fluid.
And 3 dream directors you want to work with. This should be easy.
Oh, that's a good one. There are not only 3. I really want to work with Shankar Raman. I want to shoot one of his films very badly. I want to work with this director called Denis Villeneuve. He's a fantastic director, a US-based director. His latest movie was Dune, but I love his filmography over the years. And the last director, I would love to work with this director called Wim Wenders. So yeah.
Oh, lovely. So I think you've been quite rapid. So thank you for that. Being in the profession that you've been in for whatever amount of time that you have been in, what is the biggest lesson you have learned in your journey? Maybe in life or just in the profession, any way you like.
I would say it is not as tough as people think. It is not that tough to work in the industry. It is not that difficult to be successful. I think this is one of our very, like amongst my circles of friends and everyone, they have this perception. And like, I also had that perception, but it's not. You just have to be at it, be kind, be vulnerable, be nice, meet people, same stuff. Just be a good human being, man. You do it.
That'll work.
That'll work.
So before we let you go, one final question, one piece of advice for the people who are wanting to come into this profession, and also one piece of advice for the ones who are already in it, and you can give them one hack that will make their style of working unique and unconventional.
So I can't tell anything to people who are already in it because they're much more experienced and better than me, I think. There is no hack, but the people who want to come and be cinematographers, the most important advice I could say is don't be in a hurry. Give time and be very clear of what you want to do. Stay away from the hype and build yourself up. Take your time to build yourself. And a really important thing is like choices matter.
Right.
Your choices matter. And if you want to be if you want to get certain type of jobs and gigs and stuff, just keep those things in mind.
Lovely. Ajat, thank you so much. This has been an absolute delight. Thank you for sparing time and doing this with us. And all the best for your upcoming projects. And we look forward to that link that you will share with us. And thank you so much. Hope you had fun.
I did. And thank you so much for having me. Absolutely. This was an absolute pleasure.
And for all you guys out there, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week on the next episode of Dear Unconventionals. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you guys.